Why prayer matters for leaders. Hey guys, it's Dan Greer with Forge coming at you today for your 5-minute power up. And today we're reading out of the book, Grit, Grease, and Grace, my book, Leadership Forged in the Trenches. And we are on page 115, chapter 6, The Power of Prayer. Okay? Why prayer matters for leaders. Now, I'm not going to read this whole section. I'm going to read just a little bit of it to you. We are wired to rely on our own wit, knowledge, and understanding. Or at least I know I am. I've spent a good chunk of my life believing that if I just thought, worked, or stressed about it deeply enough, I'd find the answer. But here's what I figured out over time. Don't tell my wife I said this. I don't know it all. Yeah, I put that in writing, just so y'all are aware. Yep, it's true. I don't know everything. I don't always understand why things happen. I don't have the future mapped out, and sometimes I barely have the present under control. But I've come to live by this truth. Everything happens for a reason. I may never know the reason. I might not even like the reason, but I trust that God has a plan, and He's leading me in the right direction, even when it doesn't make sense. I want to pause. There's a lot more to this section, okay? But that one little section, it actually goes on for a couple pages. But I talk a lot about why prayer matters as a leader, because it does. We're believers, right? If you're listening to this, you're most likely a believer, or you're on the fence to being a believer. And you're like, man, is God real? Is He not? I don't know. My hope is that you understand that He is real. And you would look at something and you see what He's created. My wife is this. She loves geology. She loves rocks. She loves specimens. She calls them specimens, right? That's a beautiful specimen. That's what she calls it. I love it. Well, we were at a rock show not too long ago, and we were looking around, and she was like, oh, I love this one. It was blue. It was like a geode. It had a blue inside to it. And it was absolutely gorgeous. It wasn't like an amethyst. It was smaller. It was probably only about that big around. Okay. And it was blue. It had crystals, big crystals on it, and the inside of it was absolutely gorgeous. She goes, I love this specimen. And so I bought it for her. Then we were looking around some more, and we found another one. And it almost looks like it's from outer space. It's got black on it. It's got white on it. It looks like petrified wood, but it's not petrified wood. It kind of looks like somebody threw a piece of petrified wood into a fire, and God burned up some of the crevices in the middle of it. And it's got sparkles on it. It's shiny, and it's gorgeous, right? And we put it right on the mantle of our fireplace in our living room. One of the places she loves. We also bought a stalagmite while we were there that was out of a cave from Mexico. And it's a stalactite. It hangs down from the ceiling. But anyways, I digress. But it's almost whole, and it's like 2 foot tall, and it's probably like 6 inches around at the base. And it's absolutely beautiful, right? But when we look at those, we don't go, wow, what a beautiful rock. What a beautiful specimen. I look at them and I say, wow, God built that. He created that. He pointed his finger at it and he said, I want you to look like this. And not only that, he led somebody to that and said, uncover this and pick this up. And they said, you're going to sell it to this person and it's going to end up in this home. And I'm going to be glorified because of this rock every single time. So many times as leaders, what happens is we forget to pray. We don't think prayer belongs in business. We don't think prayer belongs in our leadership. And so we don't do it. We don't do it. We don't pray at all. And we wonder why God's not giving us what we want, because we're not asking Him for it. The scripture says, knock and the door shall be open. Ask and you shall receive. But you're not asking for it as a leader. You're not asking for success. You're not asking for guidance. You're not asking for wisdom. You're not asking at all. And you wonder why, as a leader, you're not growing. Well, that's what I want to tell you. That's why prayer is a leader. Like, there's a whole chapter in this book on prayer as a leader. A whole freaking chapter on the power of prayer as a leader. Right? And I want you to think about that for just a second. It was so important to me that when I wrote this, I felt called to put a whole chapter on the power of prayer. And I read you 2 paragraphs out of the middle of that chapter today. Right? So if you enjoyed that, if you enjoy the insight to that and you want to dig deeper into, guys, grab a copy of my book, Grit, Grease, and Grace, Leadership Forged in the Trenches. You can pick it up at gritgreasegrace.com. All right. Can't wait to send you your signed copy of gritgreasegrace.com. We'll catch you guys later.